Good morning. My name is Zena Tucker. My pronouns are she and her, and I'm your pulpit host for today, July 6th, 2025. On behalf of this congregation, welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Huntsville. We acknowledge that we are on the traditional territory of Native tribes. Whether you have joined us online or you we are glad to have you with us time. Choose to be together. Our congregation is served by our minister, the Reverend Jamie Simon, who is available for pastoral care or to answer questions about Unitarian Universalism. She may be reached at minister@uuch.org. If you are a newcomer, please sign our guest book in the foyer to receive our weekly email newsletter. Please take a moment to silence your electronic devices. If you have a joy, sorrow, or important milestone that you would like shared during our Circle of Candles moment later in the service and included in our pastoral prayer, please write it on the white cards found in the hymnal rack in front of you and place it in the offering basket. For our community news and events, see our email newsletter, website, and paper insert in your order of service. We have the following special announcements today. Please note the courtyard over there is closed. They just did some wonderful work on the courtyard, and so if you would like to get out to the playground, please use the religious education door around the building there. After a service, everyone is welcome to join us in Fellowship Hall for potluck. If it's your first visit or you forgot to bring a dish, join us anyway. You can bring something next month. We usually have plenty of food. And finally, our Share the Plate Sunday today is to the League of Women Voters, and we have Dr. Lawana Harvey, to give a small presentation about the League of Women Voters. Dr. Harvey?
Good morning. I would like to say, of course, thank you on behalf of the Tennessee Valley League of Women Voters for having me here. As stated, my name is Dr. Lawana Harvey, and I am the president of, thank you. I am the president of the Tennessee Valley Chapter Local League here in Huntsville, Alabama. Our chapter is a part of a powerful and a wide-range legacy that begins over a century ago when the Courage women fought for our rights and votes and established the League of Women Voters to ensure the demographic work and all endeavors are here in Huntsville is being worked upon. Action is put forward and brought forward through our actions, our vote, and the time that we spend to the community. We are a nonpartisan grassroots organization committed to empowering voters and defending democracy. That means we don't support or oppose any political party or candidates, but we are fiercely committed to issues that matter to our community. Access voting, transparency in the government, equal opportunity for education, environmental justice, and fair representation. Tennessee Valley Chapter has a vital resource in our region offering voters registration drives, candidate forums, civic education, and workshops that we put on throughout the year. We partner with schools, universities, local governments, and other nonprofits to reach citizens, especially our youth and our first-time voters, underserved populations, and those who have historically been left out of the political process. Our work is dependent on deeply rooted in service, and we are proud to reflect the diversity, the energy, and the strength within the Tennessee Valley that we share. Whether our neighbors are about redistricting, advocate for our policies that strengthen our communities. We lead with the purpose of integrity. In the spirit of our service, we work with churches, schools, community groups to register our voters, host forums, share nonpartisan information that when people are informed, they make powerful choices for themselves, their families, and for the future of the outcome of our society. As the word says from Proverbs 31:8, speak up for those who cannot speak for themselves. Ensure justice for those being crushed. That's the heart of what the Tennessee Valley actually practices. We let our work speak for our actions that you see within the community and for within our generations to come. Speak up, show up, ensure justice through our civic engagements and collaborations of actions. The League of Women Voters was built by people who believe the real change, that we inform our citizens, then we show up, then we speak out and take action. That's exactly what we're doing here today and all days to come. So I invite you, whether you are a student, a professional, or retirees, or simply someone, either male or female, no matter what your background is, your diversity, ethnic, we are here, we are one, and we're a team. And we encourage you to join us in serving our community, because that's what it's about. Your voice is your power. Your participation, it matters. Altogether, we can protect and promise democracy in the generations to come. So, again, advocate for yourselves. The Tennessee Valley Chapter, League of Women Voters, and the state, we advocate for being one, taking action, education, voting rights, and then also being a participant within the community. Why? Because we're based upon and founded upon faith, love, and courage. And at this time, I would like to thank the church, the Unitarian Universal Church of Huntsville, and Reverend Jamie Simon, for inviting us, because this is a real treat. As I took on the presidency, this is my first year, and so I wanted to make sure that our organization gets out into the community, and we want to make sure that we hear you. And so we not only we thank you for your donation, because what we're doing now, it will help us go into the schools to kind of help and prep our next generation. At the same time, we have some issues, of course, going on in our country at this time. We're going to be losing some of our food banks. We're going to be losing some of our rights, our diversity actions, and some of the our cultures, with the immigration laws coming in. So, of course, the Tennessee Valley wants to make sure we're there to support and aid in the community and wherever that may exist. And so we do look for partnership as well. So, of course, not only we thank you for your generation, but we want your service and we want your commitment. So, of course, we'll be calling upon you to participate and help volunteer. And if you would like to be a part or join or just simply come and see what we are about, then I ask you to log into our website, and also we'll have more flyers here for later on if you would like to sign up and just be a part, volunteer your time or service, or just basically just come out and see what we're about. We welcome you. And at this time, I would like to thank everyone, and I hope you have a blessed and happy Sunday.
Now, I would like to invite Wayne Schreier, our most excellent property manager and safety guru, to ring the singing bowl to help us enter into the service more deeply. Finally, having gathered in a shared quest for truth, meaning, and purpose, we light our chalice with these words by Paul Stephan Dodenhoff. For this 1 hour, Spirit of life, we let go. For this 1 hour, may we let go of our anxieties, our fears, our anger, our self-doubts, our regrets, our petty grievances, and our distractions. If only for this 1 hour, let the flame of this chalice burn them from our hearts and minds and light our way to peace and serenity. For this one holy hour.
Good morning, friends. Sorry, I'm having hair microphone issues, per usual. Welcome in. Thank you for being with us this morning. I am so glad to see each of your faces. My name is Reverend Jamie Simon. I use she, her, hers pronouns, and I serve you as the minister here at the Unitarian Universalist Church of Huntsville. Whoever you are, whoever you love, wherever you are on your spiritual journey, you are welcome here. Let's settle in for worship this morning with these centering words from Anastasia Baroche. Zena's going to help me with them.
We come together to lament with, celebrate with, and care for one another in our community and our world, because we want to be here with one another. Love is not only at the center, but also the opening that invites us to lament, celebrate, and care. Love invites us to honor our interdependence with all beings in the web of all existence.
Love invites us to envision a world where all are free from exploitation, and the smallest to the largest are protected and nurtured with care and respect.
Love invites us to revel in our uniqueness, using pluralism as our guide.
Love invites us to recognize all beings as sacred and celebrated. Our differences are appreciated and valued. All are equally sacred, regardless of culture, belief, or experience.
Love invites us to counter all forms of oppression with justice.
Love invites us to dismantle all forms of racism, of sexism, of transphobia, of all systemic oppression, remembering that all people are worthy of thriving.
Love invites us to participate in our individual and collective transformation.
Love invites us to cultivate change so we may grow spiritually and ethically. We know that we are perfectly imperfect and never finished growing.
Love invites us to connect by opening our hearts to generosity.
Love invites us to willingly and thoughtfully share our time, our talent, and treasure. Our generosity connects us in relationships of interdependence and mutuality.
Love invites us to create inclusive, equitable communities.
Love invites us to know in our hearts that all people are inherently worthy and have the right to flourish with dignity, love, and compassion.
Love invites us to worship together.
In that spirit, will you join me in singing our opening hymn this morning? It's number 100 in the gray hymnal, Peace Like a River, and the way we'll sing it, we'll do the first 4 verses as printed, and then we'll sing that first of those 4, the peace verse, once again. Let's rise in body or spirit to sing number 100.
I've got peace like a river, I've got peace like a river, I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got joy like a fountain, I've got joy like a fountain, I've got joy like a fountain in my soul. I've got love like an ocean, I've got love like an ocean, I've got love like an ocean in my soul. I've got pain like an arrow, I've got pain like an arrow, I've got pain like an arrow in my soul.
Love like an ocean.
I've got peace like a river, I've got peace like a river, I've got peace like a river in my soul. Peace like a river, I've got peace like a river, I've got peace like a river in my soul.
Pain like an arrow.
I've got pain like an arrow, I've got pain like an arrow, I've got pain like an arrow in my soul. I've got pain like an arrow, I've got pain like an arrow, I've got pain like an arrow in my soul.
Peace like a river.
I've got peace like a river, I've got peace like a river, I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got peace like a river, I've got peace like a river, I've got peace like a river in my soul.
Each week following our first hymn, we remain risen in body and spirit, and we sing our doxology in English and Spanish, and we speak our words of aspiration. And when we get to that place, when we speak our words of aspiration, it's our practice to turn and face each other so that we are saying these words as words of promise in our community. Let's sing our doxology.
From all who dwell below the skies, let faith and hope with love arise. Let beauty, truth, and good be sung through every land by every tongue.
May love be the spirit of this church. May the quest for truth be its sacrament and service be its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, and to help one another in fellowship. This is our aspiration. You may be seated. And now inviting forward our children and youth and our fabulous Director of Education, of Religious Education, Jess Zelaya, for our story for all ages. All children are welcome to come forward.
Okay, we'll try to find it later. Good morning. Today's story is called How the Colors Made Peace with Each Other. Once upon a time, there were 7 colors. They were all perfectly happy living by themselves, and actually, they didn't really think much of the other colors. Each of these colors had their own names. 6 names were easy. There was red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and purple. The last one was called indigo. Now, each of these colors thought they were just great. Whenever they came near to each other, they quarreled about which was the most important color. Green said, "Well, duh, I'm the most important color. I'm the color of life and hope. I'm the color of grass and trees and new beginnings. I'm the color of the whole of the countryside. I am the most important color." Blue said, "That's nonsense. I'm far more important. I'm the color of the sky and the water, and without water, everything would die. I'm the most important color." Yellow said, "Oh, you're all so serious. I'm the color of fun and laughter and giggling. I'm the color of sunflowers and the sun and the moon. I make people smile. I am the most important color." Indigo chimed in, No, I'm subtle. I'm the color of peace and reflection and silence and thoughtfulness. If it wasn't for me, you'd all go mad with busyness. I am the most important color." Then Purple said, "I beg your pardon. I'm the color of kings. I'm the important things and majesty and ceremonies and royalty. People listen when I talk. I am the most important color." Orange then said, "You're all wrong. I'm the color of lots of fruits and vegetables, and that's where you get vitamins from. I'm the color of sunrise. I'm healthy and cheerful. Without the orange sunrise, it would always be nighttime. I'm the most important color." Red said, "You're so foolish. I'm the color of blood. Blood gives us life. I'm the color of danger and warning and road safety and fighting and force. I am the most important color." And then it started to rain. And the colors started to run around in panic, and they got in a terrible muddle. And you know what happens when colors get in a muddle? What color do they, if you mix all the colors together, what color do they turn? Brown. And they don't look very nice, do they, if you mix all the colors together? Yeah. They can end up looking much less nice than they did before. "Silly, silly things," said the rain. "Stop fighting. Stop trying to make yourself sound more important than each other. You were all designed for different things, and you're all needed for your own purposes. If you work together, you won't need to be that muddy brown color. If you work together, you can make what can they make if they all work together? A rainbow. And then, from then on, the colors stopped squabbling. They worked together, and every so often, when it rained on a sunny day, they got together to make a beautiful display in the sky to remind everyone about peace and cooperation. What is your favorite color? Orange. Ruby says orange. Yes, Nora.
My favorite color is
Purple. Purple, yes. Lorelai. Purple and black. I like those colors too. Kinsey, did you have a favorite color? What is purple? Do you have a favorite color, Camilla?
pink and purple.
Pink and purple. Those are all really great colors. Okay, let's go to our classes now. Let's now sing our children out.
We are the Unitarian Universalist Church of Huntsville, a proudly inclusive spiritual community. Together, we build a broader search for meaning, a bolder form of compassion, and a braver voice for justice. At this time, we invite you to support our mission with a monetary contribution. You may donate online using the QR code in your order of service, or you may put cash or check donations in the offering baskets. Completed Circle of Candles cards should also be placed in the offering baskets. You are invited to come forward during this time and quietly drop a stone into the bowl of water next to the ramp, in honor or memory of what you hold in your heart. With gratitude, we now receive the offering.
Friends, will you take a few breaths with me as we enter into our time of meditation, reflection, and prayer? Great Spirit of love and life, God of many names, be with us as we are with one another in this moment, as we share deeply from our hearts that which moves us and changes our lives, the joys and sorrows present in this community. Today we lift these joys from our congregation. Laurel Bollinger shares that Matthew just had his 25th birthday yesterday. Happy birthday, Matthew. Jay Kordowski shares in joy that they finally got a passport with their legal name and gender markers on it. Hooray for this big win in your life. And Melody Breyer shares in joy a huge thanks to the crew that helped pound the concrete out on the back patio to make the garden more beautiful and more accessible. And as we share those joys, we also share in sorrow. Teresa and Tim Miller share that Teresa's sister Joan, who lives in California, was hospitalized this week with a stroke. They hope that there will not be permanent disability from this, but they're not sure yet. She's headed to a rehab facility for a time, and we will hold her in our hearts and prayers. Joe Broussard shares in sorrow that Danny Ricketts, who is a friend to many at UUCH, is being treated for cancer. And Joe's friend, Candalee Jones, has begun chemotherapy. We hold both of you in our hearts as you begin your healing journeys. Jerry shares two sorrows for the world this week: the devastation and horror of the floods of the Guadalupe River in Texas, and all those who've lost their lives and their homes, as well as people who are losing necessary benefits because of the new legislation. We hold those sorrows with you, Jerry. And Betsy Applegate shares in sorrow that her stepbrother, Wayne Morgan, who passed away last week doing what he loved most, golfing. He was a wonderful man who leaves a strong legacy of love. We hold you as you miss your brother, your stepbrother, Wayne. As we hold in our hearts these joys and these sorrows, these stories in the world, we pray and we hold in compassion and community all of these joys and sorrows. We lift up in care and protection the 17 million people who are going to lose access to health care as a result of the bills that passed this week. We pray for those who are worried and feeling fear in this time. And we remember the best of who we can be. This past week was the 10th anniversary of the Obergefell-Hodges decision. And as we see in sorrow what can be done against our values of love, we remember what can be done in favor of our values of love. And we hope those protections maintain for generations to come. In all these places of celebration, may kindness and connection grow. In all these places of pain and concern, may compassion and healing begin. And may we respond to this prayer by singing our responsive music, number 1009, Meditation on Breathing. Our reading this morning Our reading this morning is an excerpt from a letter written by French philosopher Albert Camus to a German friend in the year 1943. You said to me, "The greatness of one's country is beyond price. Everything is good that contributes to its greatness, and in a world where everything has lost its meaning, those lucky few who, like us, young Germans, are fortunate enough to find a meaning in the destiny of our country, must sacrifice everything else to it." I loved you then, but at this point, we diverged. No, I told you. Everything must not be subordinated to a single end. There are means which cannot be excused, and I should like to be able to love my country and still love justice. You retorted, "Well then, you don't love your country." That was 5 years ago. We've been separated since then, and I can tell you that not a single day has passed during those years without my remembering your remark, you saying you don't love your country. I guess, no, I didn't love my country if pointing out what is unjust about what one loves amounts to not loving it. No, I didn't love my country if insisting that what one loves measure up to the finest image you have of her amounts to not loving. Then I guess I do not love my country. What is spirit? We know its opposite, which is violence. What is human? There I stop you, for we know. Humanity is that force which ultimately cancels all tyrants. It is the force of evidence. Now I'd like to invite forward Ward Welty to share our anthem this morning.
If I ruled the world, every day would be the first day of spring. Every heart would have a new song to sing, and we'd sing of the joy every moment would bring. If I ruled the world, every man would be as free as a bird. Every voice would be a voice to be heard. Take my word, we would treasure the day as it could. Our world would be a beautiful place where we would meet such wonderful dreams. My world would wear a smile on her face, like the man in the moon has when the moonbeams. If I ruled the world, every man would say the world was his friend. There'd be happiness that no man could end. No, my friend, not if I ruled the world. Every head would be held up high. There'd be sunshine in everyone's sky. If the day ever dawned when I ruled the world.
It's late March 2003, the week before my little brother's 6th birthday party, and we're sitting at the dinner table as a family, last bites of spaghetti still left on our plates. My dad looked worried, and my mom looked sad. They told us that our country had invaded another country called Iraq that was far away across the world. And they told us that that meant we were now part of a war. They told us that some of the children we went to school with in the most heavily military area in the United States, that their parents were going to get sent off to fight. And they told us that they didn't think that our country was doing the right thing, that peace was always better than war, and then the next time there was an election, they would vote for different leaders. And in that heaviness and uncertainty, we did what we knew how to do. We lit a chalice at our kitchen table, one of those little ones made from a miniature terracotta pot that you flipped upside down, and we said a prayer for peace. And we sat together wishing the world was different than it was. And when we extinguished the chalice, I remember looking at my dad, a Navy veteran, and asking him if he thought the war was probably going to be over by tomorrow, or if it was going to be more like next week. And he just shook his head, no. It'd be almost 9 years before troops left Iraq. My brother and I, nearly out of high school by then. And in that time, more war and more violence and more conflict had been drummed up all over the region. And I tell you this story because just a few weeks ago, as I was attending the General Assembly conference in Baltimore, as I was walking out of a keynote lecture that was skillfully and beautifully delivered by trans activist and journalist Amara Jones, I felt catapulted back to that moment. As we walked out of the vibrant electric energy of this great hall where Jones had spoken, where she'd called on us to see the insidious patterns of trans marginalization directly orchestrated by the Christian right, as we walked out convicted and ready to change the world, we heard the news that the US had dropped thousands of pounds of bombs on Iran. And the air that had just a moment before felt so hopeful, so ready to tackle the challenges of our time. Well, that air just went cold. And by the next morning, when more news broke that Iran had struck a US airbase in Qatar, we spent the whole day believing quite literally that we were once again at war. And I found myself so grateful to be with other Unitarian Universalists around a much larger proverbial table, lighting a chalice, saying a prayer for peace, and wishing the world was different. And since that week, as often happens in this particular season of rising fascism, the news cycle has swirled again. New headlines and new heartbreaks dropped on top of the fear and disbelief, and at some point, some kind of deal was reached, and so maybe we're slightly less at war than we once had feared. It all feels intentionally unclear now. I share this story as an example of the mixed blessing that was my experience at this year's General Assembly. Attending this gathering, there were exciting new things to learn about and explore. I got to sing for the first time a couple of the new hymns that are being introduced as the UUA explores incorporating a brand new hymnal called Sing Out Love. We have our work cut out for us to figure out how we are going to use this hymnal, which is being rolled out as a virtual collection and not a physical book. It will be a challenge, but since, the gray hymnal was printed in 1995, and the teal hymnal followed in 2005, as we round this corner of 2025, I think it's exciting and necessary to have new music headed our way. There were moments of tension and uncertainty as three important, valid, congregational study action issues came to the floor in competition with each other to be discussed and voted on. The gathered assembly asked itself, What is the issue of our time most necessary for our congregations to learn, explore, and act on? We were presented with 3 choices: housing access and inequality, prison abolition and restorative justice, fat liberation and anti-fat bias. All different, and all 3 representing important, valuable, values-based conversations for our congregations to have. Ultimately, the votes of the delegates were heard, and our faith community is now committed to study and explore prison abolition and restorative justice practices. Throughout the coming year, we will learn about and explore spiritually how and what the world could be like and feel like without so much reliance on our carceral system. Unlike our current administration that seems all too keen to build bigger and crueler prisons and prison camps, we seek to imagine another way, a way of relationship and a way of peace. The question we will ask is, can we have safe, thriving communities where people who break the rules are met with compassion, understanding, mental health care or addiction care, and a restorative process that ultimately returns them to the community? Is that world possible, is our question. Friends, I believe it is, and I pray that we will work together to understand it, to think about it from all the different angles, and find a way to work to make it so. There were moments of spiritual reflection and collaboration across our congregations. In a workshop about creating exceptional UU worship experiences, we talked about the heart of why we come together and sit in weird pews on a Sunday morning and sing old songs and talk to our neighbors and pray. Our facilitators asked us in small groups to share about a time early on in our lives when we first understood the power of religious gathering and worship. What stuck with you? What stirred your heart? Think in your own mind for just a moment. What is an early experience of being in a religious service that stuck with you, that stirred your heart, that showed you why showing up to this kind of gathering matters? I imagine the answers in this room vary as much as the ones we came to, but we thought about lighting candles during Silent Night on Christmas Eve and feeling that sweet, sacred stillness. We thought about meeting in the minister's office to plan a loved one's memorial service and seeing the way a person's life story can be taught as a parable. We talked about gathering for a vigil at our church after a national tragedy to mourn and heal in community. We talked about hearing a wisdom tale, a story for all ages that changed our outlook forever. And we thought about knowing how to light a chalice with your family and pray for peace as your country goes to war. And on and on. Together, we were reminded that what we do in this shared hour matters. It shapes our lives and our spirits and gives us ritual touchstones to guide us on our way. And the biggest takeaway from this year's General Assembly was the constant conversation of how we can and should and must meet the moment that we are in. Beloveds, it is no secret that the moment we are in feels a little bleak sometimes. We are miles away from the world Ward sang of, where all people are free as birds and safe to grow and thrive. We're much closer to the world of Camus, where in order to maintain any love at all for country, we must criticize her and fight for change on every front. And so at GA, we were asked, what is the moment we are in? This moment is overwhelming. Each day, new stories of horror arise. It's so confusing on purpose that it's hard to keep track. But we are seeing genocide in Gaza, war in Iran, alligator concentration camps in Florida, little girls swept away from their summer camp bunks by unrelenting floodwaters, healthcare stripped away from millions, rising temperatures and rising food prices, trans kids under attack, ICE abducting human beings without due process. This moment is relentless, and it wants us strategically to be so tired and so overwhelmed and so poor and shut down that we don't fight back. That's the strategy. If you feel overwhelmed, it's because it's happening on purpose. And from this context, this overwhelming moment we are in, we are asked, what are the most urgent and important needs of this moment? What are the opportunities, challenges, and barriers that are created by this moment that we are in? Our urgent needs are mutual aid and capacity building. We need to share our resources directly with our communities, and we need to build our skills and our risk tolerance in order to resist this moment in bolder and braver ways. And finally, we are asked, what do our core values, with love at the center, call us to do in response to this moment? What is our lane? What are we most compelled, equipped, and positioned to do? Who will we become in the story of this time? We came away from the conference not with full fleshed out answers to all these questions, but a commitment to keep asking them. And maybe that's not entirely satisfying, but gosh, is it real? As we continue to live in this unbelievable moment, we will need to ask ourselves these questions over and over. What is this moment? What are the most urgent needs? What do our core values call us to do? Beloveds, we have to ask these questions because, like it or not, this moment is ours. These days and weeks and years are the ones that we get to live our one wild and precious life together. And these are the days and weeks and years where we get to decide if we are going to live for love and peace, or if we're going to allow violence and despair an entry point into our hearts. May we be so brave together. May we sing and light candles and tell stories that help us be braver still. May we share and learn from our neighbors and keep our sights set on justice, freedom, and peace. And may we meet this moment with joy and hope. Amen, and blessed be. Our closing hymn this morning is not in our hymnal. Hopefully, our fabulous greeters got you a printed copy of it as you entered. If not, I'm going to invite everyone to look at their neighbors standing next to them. And if they don't have a sheet of paper in their hand, share. That's the invitation. Let us all rise in body or spirit to sing together, "We Seek a Mighty Nation."
Amen.
Let us now take a moment to extinguish our chalice with these words by Gordon B. McCammon. Our worship of the gathered community is now ended. Go in peace, go in joy, go in love to share in the ongoing worship of the community in dispersion. Carry with you what is precious to us all, reverence for all life, beauty that displays itself in love, and deep, abiding peace.
Friends, as Zena said, our worship service now comes to a close. I'll be at the back of the sanctuary to greet you, and everyone is invited to stick around after the service for our potluck lunch in Fellowship Hall. Once again, patio is off limits today because the asphalt is still wet and you don't want that on your shoes, but the playground is open. Let us leave this time with this reminder. This is our moment to meet. May we meet it with peace, justice, and love. Let us be brave together, friends. Amen. Blessed be, and let's go out singing our rite of community, Be Thou With Us. Amen. Blessed be, and go in peace.